Alright, hey YouTube. So I've been seeing a lot of people doing these videos where they basically like take their comic book collection and go over them and stuff. I figured I got a huge comic book collection. Why not do that? It's mostly random stuff, really. I always collect. I like to collect rare comics. Like obscure ones that you don't see too often and stuff like that. So got a little bit of everything to go over. First on the list is Ghostly Haunts. Number 32. It is by Charlin Comics, which was one of the various like Silver Age 60s comics. It's and it's kind of like Twilight Zone kind of story. It's like multiple horror stories put into one book. Next up is The Comet number 1. This is from Impact Comics, which was a short-lived kind of like a sub company of DC, which was Archie Comics from way back in the day, and they had a line of superheroes. And DC had bought the company a long time ago, and they tried to reboot the characters and make them kind of modernized, but it ultimately ended up failing. It didn't really go too well. But I actually liked them back in the day, so I have a very large collection of Impacts. Alright, then we have this guy right here, number 6, Deadlock. This is actually interesting because this guy was originally created as a Doctor Who villain, for the British TV show Doctor Who. There was a Marvel comic series of Doctor Who back in the 70s, 80s, and he was created as a villain for that series. And Marvel had the rights to the character, so after they stopped doing the Doctor Who series, they just made their own comic book with him. Alright, then we have Web number 1. Now this is actually like got the first reissues all in this border, but I'm not going to take them out. I'm not worried about it. But this is another one of the Impact reboots. Basically, they took a character who was just a single character, but like a superhero, and they basically made him into like kind of like they took the one guy and made him into a group of people that was kind of like a shield type group, like a law enforcement for superheroes. So it was alright. And once again, a lot of these comics, I just kind of take random stacks. This is what I was doing, just took a random stack of comics, and this is mostly a lot of Impacts I think are in here. So this is the Black Hood number 1, or Black Hood number 1. This guy was kind of interesting. He's it's kind of like a Phantom kind of thing where there's always a Black Hood. And there's but instead of being chosen or whatever, well, instead of like it being the same family or anything, it's just the hood itself takes control of whoever wears it and makes them become a vigilante. It's kind of like a Punisher type storyline. Even though Impact was kind of a family-friendly comic, so there's no blow people's heads off. Here we go. We have Comet number 2 here. The only thing I really remember about this one too much is that he fights a really goofy villain named Applejack. He was just kind of like a weird, kind of like New Orleans voodoo guy. It just wasn't very interesting. Here we have the Fly number 1. The Fly was probably the most popular character from Impact's run. He's very much a Spiderman kind of character. Well, at least the Impact version was a very Spiderman kind of guy. He's a young kid who finds a magic amulet that gives him wings and allows him to fly and gives him enhanced strength. Then we have Star Wars number 66. This is just your basic Star Wars comic from the Marvel run from back before the movies. Back before the next couple movies that came out, and when Marvel didn't know what the storyline was to be for Star Wars, so they did a lot of weird continuity issues. We have Princess of Gem World number 11. This is actually, originally this was a miniseries, a 12-issue miniseries, which I really liked back in the day. Well, I'm not actually that old, but back when I first saw them, I collected a bunch of them from flea market. So I found this one day. It was part of the ongoing series they made after the miniseries, or maxi series. Maxi series is 12 issues. I don't even feel like going over that one. That's just not interesting. Then we have the Umbrella Academy number. Well, this is a freebie from Free Comic Book Day, so there's no number on it. This was actually pretty interesting, but I never got around to actually picking up the individual issues of the comic series. It was a very X-Men feel. Like it's just like kind of like a bunch of weird freaks of nature who group up and become like a team of superheroes. Very much an X-Men feel to it. Spiderman number 53. Well, Web of Spiderman number 53. Basically, I don't really know anything about this comic. I didn't read it, or not yet anyway. Probably never will, because there's a lot of comics I just don't get around to ever reading. And here he looks like he's fighting some werewolves. Cool cover. Here we have Jonah Hex number 28. Very classic Jonah Hex. That was, Jonah Hex is a really cool character, great series. He's fighting an Indian there. Legion of Superheroes. Well, the Legion number, I can't really see, number 38. This is from a rebooted series they were doing like in the mid 2000s, maybe 2006, 2007. I'm a huge Legion of Superheroes fan. I really like them. I try to collect them all. I try to collect as many of them as I can. So whenever I saw them, usually when I see reboots, I try to pick the reboots up. But that really wasn't a very good reboot. Here we have this Spectre Spider-Man number 180. Don't really know anything about this. It was actually given to me by somebody. Like I have a few family members. They go to the flea market and stuff, and they'll buy random comics that they think I like, give them to me. But it wasn't. It was alright. I didn't really read it. This is Gummy 3D number 1. I saw this in the store one day and it was really cheap. It was like $1 to buy, so I thought, why not? It's a Gummy, and it's got 3D glasses on it. So I never even took it out of the packet yet. This is a sealed packet that they must have sealed when they made the comic book, and I never took it out. So I was too worried about. I thought if it had any kind of value, which it really doesn't, but if it had any kind of value, I don't want to keep it like that. The Flash number 20 of this is the post crisis Flash. It's also another issue in the back. This is a really good. I haven't read it in a long time, but I had read these issues a long time ago, and it was a really good run. Like it was like a very bare bones, kind of down to earth, realistic Flash. This is the king size annual of Spider-Man number 3 of the I don't really know anything about it. I just like Spider-Man. I just pick Spider-Man up when I see him. And it's got the werewolf guy, Jonah Jameson's son in it. Micronauts number 2. This is part of a. This was like kind of they were kind of trying to cash in on the G.I. Joe thing back in the day, even with the toy lines in the 80s. So it's a bunch of like micro-size, characters that live in like a microscopic world, so that kind of thing. Sabertooth number 2. I think this was just like I just bought this out of the 50 cents pile one day at my local comic book shop, and I thought it kind of had a cool cover, and yeah, I don't really have much to say about that. This is not really a comic book, but this is Moby Dick. I found this at a flea market one day. It was pretty cheap, and it was really old, and I liked it, and so I figured I'd pick it up. It's just one of those kind of. It's really old. I think it's like somewhere in the 50s it was made. Here we go. We hit the Fender number 90, number 49. This one has guest starring Moon Knight, or he might be a part of the Defenders. I really don't know. He wasn't a part of the Defenders as far as I know, but he could have been. And we have Weird War number 6, featuring. This is basically like classic Weird War kind of covers. Like it's a cyborg guy, it's a soldier who's classic cover. And then on the back is House of Yang number 2. This is such a weird random comic. I don't even know what it's about. I think obviously it looks like a kung fu comic, from like the 1800s, but I really don't know what it's about. It's another Charlin Comics, and they do some interesting stuff. So, and they're kind of hard to find, so I like picking them up. Fantastic Four number 542. Sorry. This is part of the Civil War run. I really like Civil War. It was a great concept. It got me reading Marvel again, because I wasn't reading Marvel for the longest time. Star Wars number